Hello YouTube, modeling community. This is Rusty Rotor with a normally mail call and Mental Monday. No mail. Nobody likes me. No, we just didn't get anything in the mail. Mental Monday. That's pretty much what we're going to focus on. I think I've slightly talked about this in the past, and it was when we were talking about 3D printing. And a lot of people said they compared it to scratch building. Well, today's subject is scratch building. And I thought it was kind of important, my view and my take on it, considering the project we're working on right now, which is the Ring Brothers, what is it, 69? That's what it is. 69 Dodge Charger. Now this car is built by a custom shop. They're very well known, and they produce beautiful cars. For an example, my holy grail is the Johan, or Johan, however you want to say it, AMX, the 69 AMX Javelin. Now there is a difference between the Javelin and the AMX. The Javelin has humps in the front fenders. I think I've said this before. But anyways, Ring Brothers built a 69 AMX Javelin. It is a pro touring car. It is absolutely stunning to me. It's like a goldish yellow, almost like an anodized yellow looking, with black wheels. It's down on the ground, big wide tires in the back. If you get a chance, go check out all the cars that they've built. I get a lot of inspiration just from their cars that they built. And when that Charger came along, I was like, it looks pretty simple, not a whole lot to it. I can pull that off. And I did. I've pulled off the engine sticking through the hood just right, and given it a Hemi, new age Hemi, supercharged. The big wide tires, the wheels match. I don't know exactly underneath the whole car what it looks like. I can tell from one rear shot, it's got a 4-link and coilovers, so we adapted those to it. Front suspension is lacking. Luckily, I got a file the other day of primarily a pro touring, pro mod type front suspension. Having some issues with the printer. I don't know how to correct it. I've done everything I know how to do. It's constantly sticking to the FET, which is giving me a huge headache because I have things I need to get printed. I've sent a message to Ryan to see if he's got some ideas. I've replaced the FET. I've replaced the protective screen. I use a dry film lubricant on the FET to keep it from sticking. I re-zeroed out the machine. Last time it was doing that, re-zeroing it out cured it. This time, no. After I get to about layer 100, 115, it starts sticking. I don't know what's causing it. So, whatever I print, I'm only getting half, the front half towards me. The back half of it is sticking, or sometimes it's printed out good. Excuse me. Sometimes it'll print out good even after it sticks, but most of the time it's not even printing. After I clean out the FET, there's a flat layer of messed up resin. Enough about that. Scratch building. So, for instance, with this Charger, they don't, you can't just go make or buy the parts. I couldn't even, maybe if I was a CAD designer, I could probably do it and then print the pieces out. But I'm not. I can take a file and slice it and then print it. That's the end of my expertise. So with this one, I knew the main focus was going to be keeping underneath the hood super clean and simple, not a lot of clutter. Getting the back end of the car right and the front end of the car right. Got all that. Now we get to the interior. Well, the kit's interior is, it's a tub, and it's plain Jane. There's no prominent detail hardly at all. You might be able to pick out the door handle and the window cranks and stuff like that. This car has power windows, power locks, all that, just like a new Charger would have. And it has all the onboard controls that the new Charger has, as far as stereo, navigation, so on and so forth. The interior has been fully modified and customized, as far as wrapping it everything in leather, reshaping the dash, reshaping the console. It's got a custom shifter, lots of toggle switches on the console that I don't even know what they operate, but but I was able to get that. And we will take a look at a few things here real quick. And everything still needs final sanded, guys, and it's not 100% done. But we did replicate the dash as best as my skill level will allow me, which it got really close. Now I've added these are just little like sewing pins in, just make sure they lined up right and they look accurate, and they do. I just got to come to length and glue them in after I get everything painted. This almost has like a silverish, chromish finish to it. This little bezel inlay right here, and then the back is black, and then it gets a gauge decal on each side, and then I told you what I'm doing in the center. Down here is the stereo. To me, it looks backwards, and to you, I think it'll look right. And there's like 4 toggles underneath the stereo. Well, I'm going to cut a clear, after I paint that black, I'm going to cut a clear piece of, from like the bubble from a package you get. It's, I'm going to cut a little piece of plastic out of that, and then lay that over top of that to resemble a screen. Once it's everything's painted. And then, what I told you here is getting this. So I still got to work on that a little bit. I did get it back together. I need to try to whittle it down as tiny as I can get it without breaking it again, which is going to be a task in itself. But this was all scratch built. All this down here, all this up here and here, and, and the back plate, and then we scratch built the thing to go over the decal. So, in cases when you want to go this extreme on something, which I always seem to do for some reason, you may end up having to scratch build. Now, keep in mind, guys, anybody can scratch build. It can get tedious, and some things are hard. But at the end of the day, it's really not. If you just take your patience and apply it, and know that even if you mess up, it's styrene, it's hunks of plastic, maybe a piece of sprue. You got plenty of it, so you can try 100 times if you fail until you get it to look exactly how you want it. So now I know with the stereo controls, other than you saw the knob on the side of the stereo, but as far as navigation and the functions of the car, as far as what mode you're in, blah blah blah, that control, I had to scratch build all that. So I'm going to get it up here. Like I said, everything's rough still. We were able to get the console. You can kind of see, if I go at an angle here, a little bit there. Behind the knob, there's 2 buttons that are flat. And maybe like traction control and something else. I don't know. I'm not real familiar with the Chargers. And the pictures I have aren't real descriptive in this area. I got a glimpse of it, so I just kind of winged it, and I think it turned out pretty good. But there's 3 buttons in front, down flat, and then this is the knob that you would push left or right, kind of like a joystick, or push down to click for OK type thing. Now all that'll get detail painted, once I'm still sanding on it and shaping it and everything else. The door panels, like I said, since they're not real prominent, was kind of a bonus for me. I was able to replicate the door panels as best as I could, because they're not stock, they're not, they're all custom. And I'll show you the door panels. There's one. I scratch built the armrest, the inlay here. This little inlay here is black on the door panel. This is dark gray leather, and then this is like a silver finish with that line going down there. And you can see it's kind of 3-dimensional. Look down here, you can see that this would be the door handle, the primary door handle. You could use this too. So, I had to just sketch out. I just drew out and sized it, what I thought looked right. I cut it out and I put it on the door panel to see if it was right. And then once I got one done and where I needed it, I just flattened it out, laid it on another piece of styrene and traced around it. And then I just sanded it down until they were both equal size. Then I applied the pieces. I never apply a piece until I know, I've got this one right, and then I duplicate it and make sure it's the exact same size as this. And when they're both the same size, then I will apply them to whatever I'm doing. In this case, being a door or door panel. And you can kind of look down in there. You can see, whoop. I don't want to tack these or glue them in place right now. On the real car, the kick panel offsets. It comes out a little further than the door panel does. Well, I had to frame all that in. It's framed with little ripped pieces of styrene, and then I laid the flat panel over top of it. So you can see, the kick panel sticks out further than the door panel, like I want it to. And the other door panel, here it is. There's the other one. It fits in there perfect too. So now, up to this point, come on. Up to this point, I've got from the kick panels back to the back of the door panels. So now I've got to frame in. Let me get that one out of the way, and we'll put this one up there. Even at the bottom, you can see the two little white pieces of styrene here and here. Those are because the threshold is flat and then bevels down to the carpet. And that replicates those also. So with that in place, and the doors are more squared off instead of a Dodge, the Charger, they kind of like the inlay. They're shaped like the inlay, coned at the front. But when they revamp the interior, everything's kind of squared off. It still has the the nice curves where it needs to be. But so at the back, we'll get it right, guys. So at the back of the door panel, back here, I have to bump this out all the way back to match the kick panel up here. And then it'll get a new, side panel, interior panel over top of that. And that'll get, switches for the electric window, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know. I don't think, no. Or maybe it does. I don't know, because it's got the long area. I think those are separate windows on the real car. It's beyond the door seam here, so yeah. So I'll have a little switch on each side that would operate the power window here also. I'm not putting windows on the sides. It'll just be front and back glass, and then cover up the cozy wings. The air conditioners. But yeah, so, you can kind of get a good look at it. I do have a picture, I think I do, of that. What did I do with all the pictures? Give me a second here. Oh, here they are. I may or may have not printed out showing the door panel. No, I did not. Sorry, I will. I still got to replace the cartridge in the printer. But yeah, I mean, they're pretty close to what's on the real car now. I could have traced this on here and made this a little bigger and put it from the back side. It would have given more of the inlay, but I'm working with super thin styrene here. And I didn't want to go that far because then I'd have to fill the space of that thickness behind it to keep everything uniform, or it would start curving and shaping once you glue it in. So I just put it on the outside. It still gives the appearance. These still have to be sanded. All these edges have to be rounded down, front and back, top and bottom, blah, blah, blah. I'm almost done with this one as far as sanding. You can kind of see I've sanded the edges. I got a little bit more to do to get it how, as close as to the picture I can. But, not bad for, a guy that is just average. And I am. It's just, I may be able to sit here and do this more than what you guys can do. But really anybody can do this. This isn't like for elite builders. It's just, you got to have patience. You got to have a sense of size, scale, and know you're going to fail multiple times before you succeed. This is take 2, so I got lucky, and then I just replicated the other one. Now you can see this one's not been sanded down. It's real dirty from where the glue. And I use the Tamiya thin set, the green bottle. I like it because when you're working with stuff this thin and this tiny, it bonds. It melts the styrene and it bonds into place. Bigger, heavier pieces, I'll use that first, and then I come back with just a dab of super glue on the end of a toothpick and kind of go around the perimeter just to add some extra strength. But yeah, those turned out really good. You guys saw the other stuff the other day, Friday, and there'll be more come this Friday. But I just want to use this as a reference as, scratch building. You can see all the little detail I made for that console. I still got to make the ignition switch and the key, and then there's like 3 buttons behind it, and that kind of finishes out the console. The shifter, I'm going to have to scratch build that too, and then I'll take a chunk of styrene sprue and put on something, and I'll start grinding it down, smoothing it down until I get a tiny little ball for a shifter. And once I got it sanded smooth, then I'll detail paint, and then I'll clear coat the knob. And then same way with the shifter, it gets painted, or it's like a graphite color or black, and then it'll get clear coated. Then I got to replicate the boot. It's got like a bezel around the bottom of the boot, so I got to scratch build that, the boot, the shifter, the knob. So I still have those to do. But I was like, you know what? I'm bumping all these panels out and changing everything. The stock seats are not going to work. And I was like, and I kind of knew that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to modify the stock seat. So like I told you before, I was going to cut down the side and the seam, and I did. And I sanded everything down, and I got a rough foundation. And I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'd have to putty all this in, sand it down, sculpt it, shape it to get it how I want it, and then still finish sanding off all the molded in stuff. It's like, I'll have to do that 4 times for back seat and 2 front seats. Well, 3 times. I was like, those racing seats I do print, I have 1 set left. I wonder if I can sculpt those, because they sculpt really easy with the Dremel and the, your carbide bits. They do really well. And so I tried it, and I got, from the angle I can see of the seat, I don't have a real good visual of the seat, but I was able to replicate it to a degree. Now this gets a padded headrest up here. All this detail is fine. And then the bottom has a support for underneath where your knees meet your thighs. So I just took a little piece of styrene and I made that. So that'll go in there like that, and then all this will get painted. And then seatbelts. The seatbelts come down from the top of the car down to the side of the seat, and shoulder seatbelts. It doesn't have a harness or anything in it, but so I cut those out, and then I duplicated it the same way, made sure they're both the same size. I eyeballed the seats side by side to make sure everything's pretty much shaped. I just got a lot of final sanding to do and a little more sculpting, But then I'll make a headrest piece. Well, actually, would be like the back between your shoulder blades, and then the headrest goes on above it, and that's padded out too. So it's a matter of just looking at what the picture is and picking out the pieces that you don't have, you can't buy, you can't have them made. You're going to have to make them, and that's where scratch building comes in hand. Now, there's guys that will scratch build a car out of a hunk of wood, in scale, every little part, whittling it out of wood, and they break that, or they slip and they cut it and they got to start over. Well, because you only work piece by piece, it's not so horrible to have to start over on one individual piece. So you start off with a kit and you got a good foundation, and then you start scratching in the pieces that you don't have. Like I said, you can't buy. Nobody can make, well, somebody can make them for you, but then again, by the time you pay for it, you wait for it, and then it gets shipped to you, and then he was off, you were off, and then you're back at ground zero, where you can just look at the picture and estimate the distance between the back of the fender and the front of the bezel, and then duplicate it. It doesn't have to be perfect, because nobody's perfect, but you can get it super close, and to me, it's super rewarding. So I'm really curious what you guys think about that. Do you find it super rewarding to do it? It's too much of a hassle. You don't like messing with it at all. And I mean, I totally get all aspects of it. This isn't who's right, who's wrong. Only the purists do it. No, it has nothing to do with that. Everybody, if you build a model car, will eventually come to a point that you will scratch build something. Whether it's you're tired of being box stock and you're like, you really want to go out of the thing, but you don't want to buy anything, and maybe you're just broken, you can't buy anything. It doesn't have to be that. It's just you don't want to buy anything. You want to make. You want it to be so rewarding that you're willing to scratch build every little component that you're adding to it. Now, there's guys on YouTube, especially these Japanese, and I want to say Chinese. No, I don't know particular which country, but the Asian market, Japanese design motor cars. There's guys that are scratch building every bit of their detail. They're not buying aftermarket stuff. They're scratch building that stuff and adding to the kit. They're making windows go up and down because they're building the transmission and the track and everything inside the door panel of a 124 scale car. They're just super good at super tiny little things. And, salute to them, because that's flipping amazing. I don't know how they do it, but I watch them. I watch all their videos, and most of it's all scratch built. There is some of them that will just use photo etch and aftermarket stuff, but I really like and lean towards the guys that I sit there watch them whittle down and shape and carve that one tiny little part they need, and then they duplicate it 10 times, and then the next little part to get that realistic look without spending money on aftermarket parts. That is, to me, more rewarding. So, curious on your thoughts on that. And that's pretty much what I have for, scratch building. You guys can see both seats, they're not finished sanded yet, but I got them primarily the way I need them. I need to make the upper pads, and I need to make the headrests and pads for those. And once I get these final sanded and smooth, then I can get these parts applied and then get them into primer, and then I can get it to paint. This week I'll be working on, you can see I've got half of it removed, so this is smooth. So I have a clean foundation to start from. I'm just going to kind of mirror the back seats to the front seats without headrests. I don't see any headrests in the pictures, so I'm not going to add any back here, but I'm going to add all the rest of the detail. So, excuse me. I still have to remove the rest off the bottom here and this other half. Then I can start framing this panel in back here, and I'll start framing this panel in first. Once those are in, then I can start building out the seats in layers, what I need to replicate the front seats. And then you see the threshold on both sides. This bumps up, so I took out all the tabs and everything in here, so the seats just sit on the floorboard, and they sit back a little bit. There is detail. I got to scratch build the floor mats that are in the car. So I want all the detail because I don't know. I'm going to have to glue the body down, so it's going to be really hard to see that detail, but this car has a really big side window. So access to view in there is going to be pretty good. So I want the interior to be, excuse me, to be as close as I can. Underneath the hood, nice and clean. I'm losing my voice. Sinus drainage is a freaking killer. But that was our primary focus. Underneath the hood, the interior. If I would have been really challenged, I would have cut open the trunk, because there is a lot of detail in the trunk. That's where the battery is, and there's other stuff in there. I don't want to turn it into a super huge build. A couple months, a month maybe. But we're already ready for final primer on this. It has not got there yet. I want to get this done first, that way I can double check and put everything in place and see how it looks. Now, that one thing I wanted to touch base on. You will notice on panel, if you look at that, come on, just cooperate. You see that, and you can see that does not go all the way to the top. That's okay. I don't want it to go to the top. This is thin, such a thin sheet of styrene. By the time I bevel that top edge and smooth it out, it's going to blend right in with that little black area you see above it. And it rounds over. So then I'll drill my hole for the door locks. And I'll add photo etch switches where it needs to be for, power windows, power door locks, blah, blah, blah. Because, no more window cranks. The car is fully updated, customized, modernized. But I hope, if nothing more, it's going to be a great shelf queen and a topic of discussion to look at it for all the work I've put into it. Will it win a show? I don't know. It just depends on how things go. We've not got into paint yet. We're not into final assembly. Anything can go wrong in between those two stages. But again, down in the comments, yay or nay for scratch building. Do you stay away from it completely? Do you dabble in it a little bit? It's rewarding to you. What are your thoughts on it? And to me, it holds a high regard, because I know if it doesn't mean I'm more successful, but I know if I can't achieve by buying a part or 3D printing a part, or somebody actually has that part, because I could have easily gone and got a Dodge Charger kit, a new one, and taken the console out of it, and you got all those components off I needed, sanded them down and applied them. But it was challenging, it was rewarding to actually get up close again, see if you guys can see that, scratch build all that. Like I said, there's 3 buttons in front, 1, 2, 3. There's 2 big buttons in the back, which I believe those are probably traction control and something else, and then the knob that would move like a joystick. But, I scratch built that. I don't know if I can get any closer and get clear. It's even grooved like it is down on the side of the knob. There's a hole in the bottom of it. I drilled it and got where it was tight and stopped. And then I just started carving and whittling and getting it down to primarily to the size. Then I started sanding and shaping. I use files, by the way. I don't think I ever mentioned that. I have all these little tiny files, round, triangle. I have a couple triangles. I have a couple flat, and then I just went around. I drew a line with a pencil, and then I just took the V part and just kind of went around and then started making that groove deeper. And then I took a little piece of sandpaper and folded it over and got in there and sanded it down. Got rid of all my shavings and got it as smooth as possible. It's it's a great way to achieve something that you normally would not get that detail. In the same way, nobody's going to custom make the air diffuser for a 69 Charger. I wish somebody would, but there's so many different styles because each car is a little different. As where these kind of got like little bat wings that stick out below the quarter panels and angle up. That changes the style of being able to repetitively make one mold and just keep making those parts, because not everybody's going to build the Ring Brothers Charger. This is totally different than what would be on another Charger. So it's a one-off piece, I guess. That's the best way to say it. One-off pieces are primarily, they're made. Somebody makes them. And it's usually scratch built. But to me, it's rewarding. I know, whether it won or lost on the table, that I put my blood, sweat, and tears, and really tears, because I'm personally an emotional guy, so I get worked up super easy. And if it's something that I'm trying, I keep failing, I get emotional with it. A lot of guys will just stop, put it away. That's what I'm trying to work on not doing. So, everybody has their struggles and their issues, and I'm no different. So this one, I've shed several tears because I wanted to just freaking put it back in the box, do away with it. But I don't want you guys, on the other hand, to think that, he never finishes anything. He just starts these things and then he gets stuck. No, I'm struggling, and I'm working through that for you guys and for myself too, primarily. But I'm not giving up on it. And by me not giving up on it and throwing it in the box and come back another time, maybe when my head's clear, that does work too. I just pushed through. I took a little break, got a drink, played with something else, and came right back to it, and boom, it started flowing. Meditation comes in handy. I get madder, so that really doesn't work for me. I try it, but it doesn't work. But I finally got it, and it's wonky, but I know when it's all glued in place, it's going to saddle in there perfect. I might have a tiny hair gap here and there, but at the end of the day, I know the 2 or 3 hours it took for me to do this and get it pretty close. I mean, I still have to do the final trim on here on both sides, but I want to get a little further in the build before I do that, because I can paint this any given time and give it a half an hour, and it'll be dry enough to touch it. And then when it's ready to be installed, then I can I still got time to play with it, I guess is what I'm saying. So I know I got the shape down, because between this piece and this piece were done at the same time. So that, I worked getting this fit in there. I sanded this so it would adapt to it. And that's all scratch building. Scratch building can be super fun. I recommend trying it. Start off small. Do change your console around. If your kit doesn't have a console, try to scratch build one. And just work with it, sand it, get it smooth, get all the shaping you want, that, have a good reference pictures of it, top, sides, whatever you can, of something to look at, so when you're replicating it, you're getting everything that the real one has, but, in tiny, and then constantly fit it into place. Make sure it's not too big, it's not too tall, it's not too long, it's not all this stuff. Don't just scratch build something outside the box and then expect it to fit in the model. You look down here, these side panels on this console are 2 pieces. There's the main piece, like you guys saw, that had the curve shape right here where my finger is, and then it was flat straight down. Well, I had to come back and add this piece, and then I had the putty in there and sand that down. Yeah, it's tight in there, but you just use little pieces of sandpaper or little sanding sticks. Like I use these things just like everybody else does. I've got all the different grits. I'll even cut a little tiny piece off that, and I'll glue that on a stick so I can get down in a tight spot and work it. I've even peeled the sandpaper off the sponge and glued it on a little stick and got in there and, get in there. And it does work. You have to overcome and adapt to your surroundings, just like in life. But But all this can be achieved. I'm not a master. You know, I like it. I appreciate it. But in the same fact, it's kind of, it's not degrading, but it's like, you know, because I'm not. When it comes to models, I have a little more patience than others. And I know at the end of the day, when I start off, that if this keeps fighting me, I can't get it, I either give up on it and change my plans, or I get up and walk away from it, and I can come back another day and pick up where I left off and achieve, you know, whoops, upside down, achieve what I'm, you know, going for. And I did. I got lucky. I got it. It's not skill, guys. This is pure luck. It's not dumb luck, but it's luck, because I faced the challenge. I pursued it to the point where it wasn't going to win. I was going to win, and I did this time. Now, next time I could fail epically, you know, even if that's a word or not. But I also use automotive grade sandpaper. So, you know, I cut little pieces off this, and I get in there and I manipulate, and I fold it over tight, and I can get in grooves and crevices. And this has got, it's not a heavy grit. I think this is 800. This might be 600. No, this is 800. I get in there with 800, and I just work until I get it smooth. Then I'll take a piece of like 3000 and do the same thing, come back and get that final, you know, smoothness on it. Now realize, when this is all painted, it's not going to look like it was a kit, you know, all molded in, everything rounded and curved and smooth, and, you know, no, it's not. It's got a whole totally different look after it's painted. And it, to me, it doesn't look 100% perfect, but you step back and look at it, and you're like, holy crap, that resembles the car to a T. And that is what we're trying to achieve by scratch building. So again, comments down there. Yay, nay. Pros, cons of it, what you think. Do you dabble in it? You don't even touch it at all? Like I said, I highly recommend it. Just start off small. And then try something more. Just know this, guys. You can get chunks of plastic bigger than what is on sprue or this, that, and the other. You can actually, that blue F100, the blue rat, that bench seat is 100% scratch built. You know how I did it? I took 2 thick pieces of plastic. I don't have any more of it, or else I'd show it to you. But they were just, you know, I think they're like 4 inches long. I had an 8-inch long piece, and it was like 5/8 inch thick plastic from something. I don't know where. I was like, no, I'm going to hold on to this. And I did. I started taking, you know, your chisel blades, and I started gouging the plastic, gouging it down, looking at the factory bench seat, shaping it, how it was, shaping it. Then going by my reference pictures, and I was able to sculpt it, is the word to say. I sculpted it into what the real truck has. And then I beveled my edges so I could glue the 2 pieces together and create my bench seat. So it doesn't matter what material you're working with, as long as you put the effort in and try, you can achieve really cool detail for your models. And it doesn't matter if you were building a little house and you wanted to scratch build all your furniture. That can be done. There's a guy on Instagram. His name is the Styrene Engineer. This dude scratch builds everything. All the little tools and equipment and shelving and, you know, tire machines, balancers, car lifts, you know, what's that machine called? Dyno test machine. He scratch builds all this stuff. And then once he does it, he kind of tacks it. Then he takes the part off. Then he makes a template. He has to, because he reproduces it and sells it. He makes templates, I'm sure, and then he bags them up. So when he needs to, he gets it out and lays it on styrene sheet and cuts the pieces out, glues it together, sands it, and he ships it to you. You got to paint it, do the final sanding and painting. So that's just patience and perseverance at the end of the day, and achieving your goal. And, you know, in this case, my goal is the interior, and yours may be whatever. Even if you just wanted to do your shifter knob, best way to do it is cut off a piece of styrene sprue. Take your small drill bit, drill up the center of it to where your drill bit starts to get tight. Stop. take your pencil and mark where you want to start shaving. Then cut that piece off. Get rid of all the excess. Then you can start honing, shaping, sanding, get until you get a little tiny ball to put on the end of a shifter. That's scratch building. So, I want to thank you, all my past subs, present, future. Channel's growing little by little. We're doing good. Spread the word, guys. I kind of stalled out for whatever reason. I knew it would happen. But, we need to... I'm trying to get to that 1,000 mark. Not just for me, but for you. Because remember, it's that giveaway. Thank you to Mark, Hobby Nut Models. Always sending stuff to the channel. He's a great guy. You guys get a chance, hit that link down below. Go check him out. Pick you up a little something. It always helps the channel. Helps you get something you need or want. Helps Mark out. Ryan Jones, his links are always down there. All of his links. Go check his stuff out, guys. If nothing more, it'll give you inspiration for a build. Then when you're ready, go back and you get that set of tires from him. Again, it helps him keep doing what he's doing for us. It's spreading the cheddar, spreading the love, keeping this hobby great, and keeping things available to us that if it wasn't for guys like that, we wouldn't have nothing. And that goes for all realms of it. All 3D printing, all the, everything. Guys that make the photo etch stuff, it's all of it. If we didn't spread the love, and by spreading the love, I mean spending your freaking money, your hard-earned money, at these places for the love of your hobby, they just wouldn't be in existence. They would shut down because they couldn't do it. They're not making money. Those guys, that's their key thing. But by you buying stuff from them, that keeps them bringing new stuff. Kind of the same way here. You go to the Hobby Nut Models, you pick, I don't care if you just picked you up a knife, whatever it is. If you need something and you enjoy my channel and the content I'm bringing, hit that link down below. Go check out everything he's got. It's a great establishment. He's always got something new, even used. Kind of covers all angles of your budget range. If you don't have a lot of money, there's stuff there for you. But please check him out. If nothing more, just go check it out. Peruse through his web store. You can get his emails on there and contact him if you don't see something and something you really want. Message him. Say, hey, Mark, I'm looking for this kit, circa 19 whatever or 18 whatever. Could you notify me if you ever get that, or if you see that, or have ways of getting it? And how much would this cost? So you communicate that back and forth, and he will contact you, and he will let you know when he gets it in and how much it's going to cost, and so on and so forth. That's great rapport. That's customer service at its finest. And with Mark at Hobby Nut Models, that's what you're going to get every single time. It's the same way with Ryan Jones. Ryan Jones is a little, I don't know what you call it, but Ryan Jones is super busy, guys. He has kids, he has a family, he has a full-time job, he has a house. This is a side gig, and it's, gotta be patient with him. He's not super slow on getting stuff out, but it may take a day or 2 days before he responds back to you, and then he'll communicate with you and then get started on it. Whatever it is. But just gotta be patient with everybody, knowing that everybody has something outside the YouTube modeling community going on in their life that they have to do or take care of first. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know by thumbs up, thumbs down, drop me a sub, hit that bell notification. Here, we'll do this real quick. I don't want to make another separate video. So the Budweiser car is painted. When this cures out, I'm out of hardener, so it's just going to have to sit longer. My hardener hardened on its own, separated and hardened. Half a bottle wasted. But I did get it painted early this morning. I touched it, done anything. I got the driver painted. I'll grab it here. Oh, I got a little bit of fuzz on there. See that? That's a nice little present, but it's right on the surface, so that's not going to be a problem. But I don't want to fool with it and take a chance of putting a smudge in it right now. But the paint laid down super nice. That's the MCW. it will get wet sanded, and then I'll lay the decals. Well, take it back. It'll get wet sanded, and I'll put one coat of clear on it, and then once that cures, then I'll start laying decals on, and then I'll come back with about 3 or 4 coats of clear over top of that. But yeah, you can see. I mean, I got a couple little specks here and there, nothing major, but once it's wet sanded out, all that'll come out. And it laid really nice. It's a great color. It's Budweiser red. I don't know what it just says. Red on it. You can see the hood over there. I don't think I got anything in the hood. I might have. I can really tell through my phone. There's a few little specks here and there, but again, sand it out, and it'll look really good. Update on the Budweiser car. We're at 45 minutes, guys. I'm calling it quits. Shop cars are still available. Just email me. I'll get you one out. Or if you're coming to Acme, I'm going to be bringing a bunch with me. I'll personally sign it there for you. And, I hope to see you guys all at Acme. Remember, November 5th. Big day. I am looking so forward to it. I was talking on the phone with old Tom at Rambler 69 this weekend. It was great to finally get to just talk to him in person. He's one that I've, for the past, 4 or 5 years, I've followed along. Because, Fred Henry turned me on to him and said, hey, you need to go check out this guy's channel. I know you're not on YouTube, but, go watch this guy's channel. He does a lot of good stuff. So I did, and I have. And I always play catch-up on his videos because I got so many to watch. But it was great actually verbally getting to communicate with him. And I can't wait to meet him and his wife and a friend of his that's coming also. Get to meet them. There's another gentleman that Lee Barrett told me is going this year. I think he goes every year. So Lee already kind of set it up for me to meet him. This cat is old school. And you talk about scratch building. You got to see some of this stuff. I mean, he lays a lot of stuff. He 3D prints. He does it all. He scratch builds, and his models are, they're not done in a day. They're done in probably 6 to 8 months, a year maybe or more. But the finished product is through the roof. And I can't wait to see some of his stuff live, in my hands. Well, I probably can't touch it, but, looking right at it. I will get some good pictures of that for you guys that can't make it. And I'll put that on the post. Again, the 27th, guys. That's this week sometime. I want to see those progress videos or pictures sent to my email of where you're at on the Hot Wheels replica group build. 2 of us are done. No big deal. I don't expect you to be done, but if you are, by all means, this 27th, mark that as your final video. Make sure you send me pictures, all angles of the car, people that helped you with it, what they did. Break down a list in your email to me of everything. My husband did this, I did this, so on and so forth. My grandchildren did this, whatever it is. I want to know, because the final result is going to be a picture with everybody that entered. Their final pictures of their build are going to be on this one picture, and each person will get one, including myself, to hang in my shop. And each year I will do this, and each person that enters will get a picture at the end of it with everybody's final build pictures on one picture. So I think it's a neat thing to hang in your shop. It's just an appreciation from me to you for entering the group build, and hopefully next year it gets a lot bigger. So till then, guys, peace. I'm out.